Hello, and welcome to the Kosh, the People's Podcast. I'm your host, Timber Smith, and the Kosh is a podcast that spotlights people who've had an association with the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities area. Kosh listeners, how are we doing this morning? Also, before we really jump in, let me just say this. This episode of the Kosh is sponsored by Sunken Paddle Cider Works, making the best of it. And as you know, we are here early on a weekend morning, getting ready to jump into another amazing episode that I am super excited about. But if you're listening and you haven't figured out what you're going to do, and it happens to be a Saturday, think about going to stop in at Sunken Paddle and do the cider tasting. I can't celebrate that enough. Just go in there. It's free. And you can go down their entire list of ciders, and they have some amazing things there to try. And it's something pretty special to the Kosh, because I don't know anybody else that's sitting with a cidery. Just the Kosh. So make sure you check them out over at Sunken Paddle. Okay, we're ready to jump in. Let me give you my normal report of the today. It is gorgeous. A little cool, though. And here's my thing right now, Wisconsin. I'm going to forgive you for the coolness of today, because if fall has not kicked in, we're a little cool, and I think it wants to toy with fall, but I'm not ready to toy with fall. We're not there yet. But then again, I am born and raised Wisconsin, and I do realize like that there are at least 7 more summers ahead. So, I'm looking for, if this is the beginning of fall, I know that there's at least 7 more summer days, weeks, whatever you want to call it, ahead for us to get some pretty amazing weather. I do like fall, though. Fall might be my favorite season of Wisconsin. All right. Well, Kosh listeners, you already know, like I'm crazy excited about today's conversation because this person is associated with one of my favorite establishments here in the Kosh. I definitely have spent some time there. I think many of us have probably spent some time there in one way or another. There's a great team of individuals there. The food is fire there. So I'm really excited. And this is a newer owner to this, what I'll call legendary staple of the Kosh. So I'm excited about what this conversation is going to lead to. Hopefully we'll learn a little bit about, their association and how they got here to the Kosh and why they decided to embark on this particular adventure. But let me just say this, more importantly, and if you Kosh listeners, you know what I'm about to say. I don't know how I continue to get these amazing guests here on the Kosh, and this week is no different. So, without further ado, this week's guest is Aaron Busse. Hey, Aaron.
How's it going?
Did I get the last name right?
It's Busse, but
Busse.
You got it closer than most people. Most people say like Busse or something like that.
I could have Busse'd.
Yeah. A lot of people say Busse, like Gary Busey, the actor.
Okay. You know what? I thought it was a trick, and where how sometimes there's silent letters.
Yeah. Most people get that. And I got used to it by the time I was 12, so it's nothing new.
Aaron Busse.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds like, I don't know, but the Busse, you might have been cool with that last name.
Well, it's honestly actually my nickname. Most of my friends call me Busse.
Busse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just, hey, Busse, what's going on, man? That kind of thing.
Actually, that's a cool nickname. If you're going to get blessed with a nickname, because there's worse ones to have.
Oh, certainly.
And you don't always get to choose your nickname. The nicknames choose you.
Yeah, that's very true.
Bruh. Okay. Well, Aaron, how's your day going?
It's going good. Like you said, it's a gorgeous day. A little bit cold, but it's kind of a nice switch up from that extreme heat we had not too long ago. But you're right. Weather is temperamental here, so we might get back to that heat in not too long.
Hey, I'll take the heat. I got my agreement with God. I only complain the cold half of the year. You can't wait, because you could complain all the time, but that just seems wrong.
Yeah. Just take it as it comes. It's gonna come, it's gonna go, and you're gonna get back to where you like it. So
wait half a day and it might change, and it might be
right.
something you actually want.
Yeah.
That's so Wisconsin.
Bruh.
All right. Well, let's get ready to jump in. Aaron, can you please share a little something about yourself and your association with the Kosh and the surrounding Fox Cities area?
Yeah, for sure. Born and raised local. Grew up on the west side of Oshkosh, town of Algoma. Went to high school here, went to college here, lived in LA for a few years, but then moved back. Now I am a business owner here, and that's probably my biggest tie. And I don't know, it's just always been home.
Oh, so you pulled a boomerang.
Yeah, I did.
How was LA?
Well, I mean, like most places, it's got pros and cons. Weather there, great, except for, middle of summer, it gets up to like 125.
What? Did you say 125?
Bruh.
Nah.
Yeah. So I lived in North Hollywood for a good bit, and I swear it's probably like beginning, middle, end of August, somewhere in there. And I walked outside because I was going to go to the gas station, get a drink, and I just immediately started sweating. It was 122 degrees that day, and it's a dry heat. There's no humidity out there, but man, it's like walking into an oven.
Just melting, folks.
Yeah, oh yeah. But it only lasts like a week or two. It's always somewhere in August.
See, because I was going to say, Cali, you always hear like Cali's got the dream weather.
Yeah. Well, it's got the dream weather for like 90% of the year, especially in the winter. The coldest it'll get is like 40, and that's like 4 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, the summer can get a little brutal, especially with the fires out there. Man, there was a day where basically North Hollywood was just covered in smoke, and that was from fires that were like 100 miles away.
That's got to be the worst. I feel like we got a taste of that like last year when they had all those fires in Canada.
Yeah.
And it's like you can really tell the air quality has switched up on us.
Yep, definitely.
Okay. So you said you went to school here. Okay, name these schools. Where did we go?
Well, so high school, I actually went to a high school in Fond du Lac. I went to WLA, if you're familiar with it. Winnebago Lutheran Academy. Yeah,
okay.
It's a small private high school. My experience there was pretty neutral, which is probably better than most high school kids have in any high school.
Bruh.
It's the pretty neutral. Huh?
Yeah, not good, not bad. I was kind of a wallflower in high school, so just kind of watched things happen.
Okay.
Played a little basketball, got decent grades, didn't really stand out much.
All right.
Yeah. And then I went to college here, went to UW Oshkosh.
All right. So we're a Titan.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Got to cheer on being a Titan, man.
Oh, yeah.
I think like we as Titans, we need something cool to say to each other, like people that go to Alabama. No, I'm serious. Like, when they be like roll tide, you see another Alabama person roll tide. They just look, right? We need something cool to say when we meet other Titans.
Oh, yeah. And you'd be surprised where we are. Like, we're everywhere.
We really are.
Yeah. I run into Titans out in LA. It was honestly weird.
Maybe we need to work on this. What's going to be our call signal for Titans when we roll up on them?
That's something we definitely need to think about because and be a nice way to acknowledge each other.
Go Kosh.
Yeah,
Go Kosh.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Go Kosh isn't the worst.
Yeah, that's a good start. I think you could use that as a bouncing board and platform. Yeah.
We'll bounce it.
Yeah.
We'll bounce it. I mean, I was thinking Go Osh, but Go Osh doesn't feel as good as Go Kosh.
Yeah. Go Kosh definitely has that syllabic rhythm you want.
Yeah. Syllabic rhythm.
Bruh.
That's a term there. I'm keeping that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to use that again for something. I don't know what yet, but that was fire. Syllabic rhythm. All right. If you weren't, you didn't jump into the business. You just said a business.
Yes.
So let's talk about the business.
Sure. So I am the new owner of Jansen's Bar and Restaurant on Bowen in Oshkosh. I've been the new owner since the beginning of May 2024.
How's that going?
Great. People love that place. So it's kind of like being a local celebrity. You come in and everyone wants to talk to you. Oh, you're new owner. Let's talk about this. These are the things that used to be, I want to see that come back, or I want to try this. Like, obviously you can't do everything, but being the owner of a place that's been around for 50 plus years, everybody knows it, everybody loves it, and they want to see it grow, they want to see it happen, you know.
I do think, to me, it's a community staple, so they want input. Like, you know, they feel like the community owners.
Yeah.
They definitely got input to put in,
and that's pretty much accepted. That the first week is, I am the owner, but I don't run this place.
The facts.
Yep.
Big fat facts. And that place is awesome. Okay, for people who haven't been in Jansen's, because there's some out there.
Yeah.
What do y'all really do? What are y'all known for?
Sure.
Why has this establishment made it for 50 years?
Well, Friday is always the big one. I mean, we do our fish fry, and it's just been the local place for fish fry. It's the busiest day of the week for us. People love it. But I think people come back because they know that the staff and the service that they're going to get is phenomenal. I couldn't run that place without my staff, but I think I got really lucky with the staff that are there. They know the game. They really do, and they've got it nailed down. It's pretty much hands off when it comes to day-to-day stuff. I just have to make sure everything is puzzle piece together for them, and that they don't need anything. They're fantastic.
You do got a great team.
I really do. I really do.
I love walking in that place. It very much has a Cheers appeal to it.
Yeah, I get that a lot. A lot of the regulars keep telling me, this is our Cheers. This is our Cheers. We want this place to continue being the way it was. So, yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that.
Yeah. And the fish fries are fire.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What else? What is that lunch crowd? Because I think I've never gone there for lunch because I work in another city or never got a chance to come on this side of town to do lunch. But wasn't there something about lunch that they do? Are you doing lunches?
So right now, lunch is only on Fridays.
Okay.
The establishment had changed its hours with prior owners. I'm not sure how far back that goes, but everybody wants it to come back, and definitely the goal is to bring back lunches and trying to see where that lands, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll see. But I don't know. As far as I know, there wasn't anything special about
I don't know if it was like a prime rib sandwich or something like that.
Maybe.
I don't know. It seems like I just remember people talking about the lunch.
Yeah.
Gosh, listeners, if you remember what it is, let us know.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know too. I'm always curious to learn more about that place, what people remember about it, how they saw it.
And you're just not just owning that joint. You're actually going to live above it.
Yeah. I'm working on the apartment right now. Actually, it's still under work. It's still under construction, but should be done here probably next week or two.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. What made you move back here from LA to come open a restaurant?
Well, that is a very long answer. I'm going to try and make this real short and sweet. So moved to LA, lived there for a little bit. COVID happened. Everything kind of shut down. I got a job as a loan officer for a mortgage company and could work remotely. And California passed a law where basically you could work on California mortgage loans, but you didn't have to live in California as long as you were licensed there.
Oh,
bruh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to kind of take advantage of this. I'm going to move to Wisconsin, but make California money. And then came back here. Unfortunately, there was a contraction in the mortgage world. And so there was hundreds of layoffs, and I was one of them. And then I got back up on my feet, found another job, and decided that I kind of wanted to pursue one of my favorite hobbies, passions in LA. I had a side job of teaching people to throw axes.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Throwing
I was an axe throwing coach for a while.
That is fire.
Yeah.
I love these new places that have popped up.
Yeah,
you can go do axe throwing.
Yep.
And I like to always let people know that whether you realize it or not, because I am timber, it is part of my birthright to be able to throw axes.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Facts.
Yeah.
I'm decent at it.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So axe throwing.
Yep. So axe throwing, I was an axe throwing coach, but then there was also a bar in the facility that I coached at, and it was kind of a flip-flop. Really enjoyed the bartending service aspect of it. And so back here, I had the idea of opening my own bar axe throwing facility. couldn't really find a spot for it. And as I was working with my realtor, she told me, hey, this place is for sale. It's not axe throwing, but it's, bar restaurant. And there's an apartment upstairs for you to live in, because I was also looking for a place to live at the same time. And I was like, all right, 2 ideas pushed into one. Let's go for it.
That was it.
That was it.
Okay. What's one of the biggest lessons you've learned since you've taken over?
Biggest lesson that I've learned, you never get sleep. That's probably the biggest one. Yeah.
You never get sleep.
No, it requires constant attention. As soon as you feel like you're right where you need to be, all of a sudden you're short on something and you got to go get it. It's a monster that's always eating. But, if you love it, which I do, as soon as I took over, I have fallen in love with that place. Not that I didn't love it before, but this is from a different angle. I love being there. I love working with my staff.
Was it a place that you went to when you grew up here?
Yeah, so my parents and my grandparents brought me here as a kid. I have memories of Jansen's, the smoke, because smoking was still allowed in bars back then. I remember the smoke. I remember playing on the gambling machines, not that I had money to gamble with, but, the lights and the buttons and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
My grandparents really loved the fish fry, just like everybody else. So we would go for fish fry, and it was pretty classic. I think that's probably most people's memories.
I would say it's Wisconsin classic for sure. What's one of the biggest myths you think people have about owning and running a restaurant?
It's not very glamorous. I would say that's probably something people think about most business owners is extremely successful ones. Yeah, you might know them, but there's a lot of behind the scenes work. They're getting down and dirty, at least if they really want their place to be successful, because, you're first in, last out, everything falls on you if something's not getting done. But
facts. If you weren't doing what you're doing right now, what would you like to be doing?
I would love to get back into acting, because that's what I was in LA for. Unfortunately, COVID happened while I was out there, so everything kind of shut down and I couldn't pursue it anymore. But I would love to get back into it, whether it's stage work or film work, whatever it is. It's always been a passion of mine.
What kind of acting were you doing before?
So UW Oshkosh, I was in the theater department, have a minor in theater. I did stage work there, obviously, because they only have stage work, but they also have their RTF program in the shared building, opposite side of the building. And so I did a lot of good bits of film work there. I prefer film work, and in LA, I was doing film work. It doesn't matter what kind of acting, though. I'm not as good as a stage actor as I am a film actor, at least in my opinion. I would love to get back into film acting.
You got any credits going out there?
Oh, yeah. I have an IMDb page.
Okay.
Yeah. There's probably like 6 or 8 credits on there. Most of it's stuff no one has ever heard of.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now I got to check it out.
Yeah, sure. It's out there. It's out there.
Okay. And you know what? I know they put on productions here at the Grand.
Yeah. And I've run into so many people, some people from Milwaukee that are in the Pabst and some of the more like local theaters, as well as the Grand, UW Oshkosh. My professors have come in and talked to me about getting back into like alumni acting for the theater. And
that's a thing?
Yeah. So alumni can act in their plays there. Generally speaking, they try to keep it for the students. However, when they're in short supply, they'll pull on actors that have graduated from UW Oshkosh. We did that while I was there, actually. There was a play, it was Our Town. The narrator was an alumni. He was an actor that was pretty popular in the Pabst in Milwaukee.
Okay. You ready to jump in?
Yeah.
First segment. The first segment is called What in the World is Going On With? That's where you start with the phrase, what in the world? And then you tell us what's on your mind. So, Aaron?
All right. Well, I'm beating a dead horse here. What in the world is going on with this construction?
Bruh.
I'm a born and raised local. I should be used to this, but every summer I still cannot get over it. My girlfriend lives in Green Bay, or she just moved, but she lived in Green Bay. So I was going up there a good bit, and it's like this weird funnel, all of a sudden it's 3 lanes, then 2 lanes, then 3 lanes, then 2 lanes. And then I was just up that way earlier and it's all gone. And I had only been that way maybe 3 or 4 days ago. And it was all the cones and barrels and all that were set up. I don't get it. I really don't. It's constantly changing. It's disruptive. And man, I think you probably get into like 6 almost collisions when you're trying to drive through it.
Yes, because they're jerks.
Yeah.
Because there's always that person that thinks, I'm just going to roll up here all the way to the end and I'm going to try to squeeze in at the last second. And it's like, nah, man, what are you doing? Don't do that.
Yeah, no one plans ahead. And man, it's you can't get used to it. No matter how many times it happens, you can't get used to it.
And there's been some bad accidents during this construction.
Yes.
Because, I drive it every day. Every day during the work day or work week and as I go to work, and this has been a rough go, and it's both sides.
Yeah. And you never really know what's going on because there's nothing in the news about it. It's like, okay, why are they doing this? I think they're expanding lanes on, going in and out of Appleton.
Yeah, there's a whole thing. There's I believe it might be a 2 or 3 year construction project getting ready to be had. I thought this stuff this time was like bridge repair. That's what it felt like, because all of those spots that you're talking about, expansion and contraction were happening were in bridge spaces, if you noticed. And so I thought maybe it was like some bridge maintenance they were doing.
Well, they're building a brand new bridge. Was it the Wisconsin exit somewhere near there? They're building a brand new bridge. They tore down one and they're building a brand new one. And it's like, I don't know, a half mile down. I'm not sure why they're doing that, but I guess they determined that was the place to go.
I never understand it, but you are right. 41 this year. This has been a rough construction season. This reminds me back when they were expanding it out to 3 lanes. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that time?
Yeah. Yep.
That was a rough go.
Yeah, and diverting the traffic is always a fun game to play. It's always changing because they add the new lane, then they got to work on this, and the lane changes. It's, oh, man.
Yeah, you can't just go in there and assume you know what's about to be happening.
Yeah, right, yeah. I'm not sure if I'd rather deal with the construction or the snow.
Ooh. I thought I had an answer, but then I thought about bad scenarios with both, so I don't know. Yeah. I got feelings on both of them.
Right, yeah.
All right, I'm going to say that I'd rather deal with construction than the snow.
All right, fair. You can at least see what's going on. If the snow's too bad, you can't see more than 10 feet in front of you.
Well, not just that. There's just things that it's variable. Wisconsin snow just like all of a sudden is just like, let's give you a blizzard.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Let's just give you a blizzard and see. Let's just throw this at you and see what happens here. See how you do.
Yep.
And then you also have those people who have 4-wheel drive that think that their car can't possibly slide or anything else, so they're going to go way faster than they need to test the limits.
Yep. They think they can brake like they regularly do.
Yeah, like, so in construction, like, you can't play the same games with driving.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, except for the squeezing game.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Those people frustrate me. Okay. I like that one. That's a good one. My what in the world is going on with is, what in the world is going on with football pool bad luck? I'm frustrated.
Bruh.
All right. And this is why. All right. So this is just so there's a time reference, Kosh listeners, when you listen to it. This is the first, like, literally, we've just had the first 2 days of football. Right. Mm-hmm. And this year, what I decided to do was join a pick'em league, right? So nothing fancy, because I'm not one of these people that are all into fantasy football and all that. Like, I'm not that deep, but I do like the concept that once a week I go in here, I pick winners and losers, and then that last game, the Monday night game, we pick points, and then whoever picks the most winners and losers wins for the week, right? Now, this was an expensive pick'em league. I put $100 in this joker, $100+ dollars. right? But it's for the whole
put some money down. All right.
Right, but it's a big league. So if you win a week, you win all your money back like that first week and some profit. And then if you happen to pull off 2 weeks, you actually made some decent cash.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this because once again, I feel like I can handle the concept of picking winners and losers. I can't pick should this person be the running back this week or not. None of that fantasy football stuff.
How many points are they going to get? How many yards are they going to get?
None of that stuff, right? Yeah. So I was like, all right. So first 2 games, right? 1 game, Chiefs, Ravens, week opening game for the year. I was like, all right, I got this, right? And so my logic for this was Super Bowl champs. Mm-hmm. They done did back-to-back. Usually, the Super Bowl winner does not have a great opening game, right? There's usually some challenges in there. They're not 100%. They've lost some people. Some people have gotten taken or taken in trade or draft or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I'm not going to pick the Chiefs, even though, I know the Chiefs are still a super badass team. But I was like, I'm going to pick the Ravens because, like, there's a chip on their shoulder. They got a great QB too and a great team. They usually are the Ravens are kind of very defensive minded. I was like, all right, I'm going to go with the Ravens, right? That Raven game, they go back and forth that whole game, punching each other in the mouth. Great football game, right?
Yeah.
But it all comes down to the last 3 plays, right? Ravens got the ball. They're behind. They have a great opportunity to tie the game, go into overtime. And my feeling was if they go into overtime, they got this. They got this because it felt like momentum was on their side. Yeah. Right. And so, 2 plays go. He misses the target. Last play. Throws it, and they're close, right? They're within the red zone. Throws it. Dude catches it. End zone. He's got like 3 dudes hanging on him. But he catches it, right? He pulls it down. He keeps it the whole 9. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, I'm still in this. Yeah, I'm still in it. And then they show the replay. And dude was out by literally a half a toe.
Oh, man.
Like literally. When they say this is a game of inches, this was like inches. It was like a toe. If my man wouldn't have wore black shoes and wore white shoes, they probably would have gave it to him.
Yeah.
It was
camouflage.
It was close. It was close. Right. So I was like, and I stayed up extra late for this game because it got exciting. I was like, all right, I need to see this all the way through. And they got a late start because it was lightning. And I was like, all right. So we let that one go.
Bruh.
Next game. Game 2. It's the Packers.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. Packers. And what was it? The Eagles. No, is that right? Yeah.
Was it the Eagles?
Philly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, let's do this. I said, you know what? Normally I have the philosophy, I try not to bet with emotion. And I was like, I'm not gonna bet on the Packers, but this one I did. Yeah. I was like, all right, Love's coming out. He had a great end of the season. I was like, they're traveling to Brazil. Like this to me threw all sorts of hinkiness into the game that said to me, we've got a bunch of young fools out here on the Packers going to Brazil. I was like, we got this. This is our game, long plane ride. Youth will show resiliency. Why? Once again, come down to the last couple of plays, last 25 seconds, right? Mm-hmm. Now, here's the funny thing. I fell asleep on this game, which is what I do on a lot of football. Fell asleep somewhere in the second quarter. Woke up literally in the last 25 seconds. But that's all I needed.
Yeah.
Because the Packers had the ball. They were on a drive. They needed to get this drive. If they would have scored, they would have won. Right? And I'm like, okay. And it wasn't like it was a tough drive. And I was like, okay, Love's got this. Love has got this. First play in the 25 seconds, why he get hurt. And right then, there was like a gasp of fear from Packer Nation.
Yep.
And at that point, we all just kind of, I bet, and I can't speak for everybody, but I felt like we all threw the game out the window at that point.
Yep.
It was just like,
all your morale is gone.
It's done. It's a wrap.
Yep.
And so that, and you know, that is my what in the world is going on with that. You know, the whole reason I joined this Pick'em League was so that I would pay closer attention during the football season, but I don't need this kind of stress in my life.
Bruh.
I don't need this kind of stress in my life. Now,
football season does get stressful. Man, you get those close games like that, and it happens way more than you think.
I feel like I'm second. Yeah, I feel like I'm second guessing being in this league now. All right. Next segment. The next segment is called 21 Questions. 21 Questions is not 21 questions, but great questions that might solicit 21 answers. Aaron, you ready?
I'm ready.
What are you grateful for?
Oof, I am grateful for a lot of things, mostly the people in my life. I could not make it where I am without them. Parents, friends, my girlfriend. It's definitely the people that I'm most grateful for.
What motivates you?
I like to see the community grow, and I want to be a part of it. I'm motivated to contribute. I like to see everybody raise up and be the most that they can, pursue their passions, you know, have a good life, have it filled with joy. That's what motivates me.
What grounds you?
Nature. If I'm feeling overwhelmed, I go take a walk in the woods, or I go sit by the lake, just kind of take it in, let nature calm me down, kind of realize that I need to be in the moment and let life happen.
What does success look like to you?
I was actually making a joke about this with my girlfriend the other day. I had listened to an episode of The Kosh, and I heard this question, and then I really started thinking about it. My girlfriend and I were driving through a neighborhood, and I noticed that, like, the nicer houses had big double doors on the front. And I made the joke. I was like, that's what success looks like. It's double doors on the front of your house.
Bruh.
I've never thought about that.
It's kind of weird. If you look and you get into some neighborhoods and you see the big houses, the nice houses, some of them will have these big double doors, and I've never understood it. Why do you need two? What are you expecting to come through your doorway that you need double wide doors, right? In honesty, though, and in real talk, success is seeing my community grow. Kind of like what motivates me is success to me looks like people are raising their standards up. They're seeing life get better for themselves, myself included, everybody involved. That's success.
What irritates you?
Construction.
Bruh.
Facts.
Yeah, I will not get over that. Construction, definitely. If we're talking more personally, arrogance. I cannot stand arrogance. The confidence is great, but if you have no reason to be confident and you start toting that you're the best there is, man, that grinds my gears. I hate that.
What scares you?
Failure. Not for my own sake, but taking over Jansen's. I have 12 staff. Failure not only means bad things for me, but it also means that the 12 people that are relying on that paycheck no longer have a paycheck. That's what scares me.
Facts. What recharges your soul?
Good dance session to some good music, but I don't mean good music as in stuff that I enjoy. It's like that what's the phrase? Can't think of it, but basically stuff that people wouldn't expect you to listen to. Like my go-to song if I'm in a bad mood or a sour mood is Miss Jackson by Panic at the Disco.
Oh,
Panic
at the Disco.
Panic at the Disco, yeah. So, but Outkast is great too. Yeah, if I'm in a bad mood, you know, that's the kind of thing that gets me lifted.
Nice. How do you define love?
Selflessness. You gotta love is something that it gives. It never takes. It's selflessness, and when you love someone, you want to give them all you can, whether it's your love or your time or your energy, your actions. It's always giving. It's selflessness.
What is the most memorable life lesson you've learned from a parent, a guardian, or a mentor?
I would have to say probably my dad. My dad had a business for 35 years. He only recently sold it. I learned a lot from him about how to approach life and a business and just being a stand-up person. And that lesson has a lot to do with something I said earlier. You know, the business, you're first in, last out. He was always like that. He was in his business at 5 a.m. He wasn't gone until everybody else was gone, making sure that it was his business and everybody else was where they needed to be. You gotta take care of your business. You gotta take care of your people. You lead from the front. You have to be a stand-up person because that's the only way that everybody else is going to be stand-up. They're going to follow you.
Facts. All right. We've added a new question here at the Kosh for 21 questions. We've tried this out for a couple episodes, and I'm always fascinated with the answers on this one, and that is this. What would your walkout song be?
Ooh. So there's a song that's kind of taken the internet by storm recently. You may have heard it. It's called Big Dogs by Hanuman Kind. No? You should look it up. It's really good. It goes hard.
Yeah.
The first line in that song, it really resonates with me recently because of Jansen's. It's, get it how you live it. We're 10 toes in when we're standing on business. That's life right now. That is life right now.
10 toes in.
10 toes in. Yep.
Facts. Okay. Now I'm feeling that. Now I am going to go look that up.
Yeah, it's a good song. It's really good.
Okay, and that's the walkout song.
That's the walkout song.
Facts. Okay. Love it. You have survived 21 questions.
Nice.
Okay, next segment. Next segment is called Word Association. So I'm going to say some words, and then you're going to tell us what comes to mind. We have a tradition here on the Kosh, and that is this. We always start off with the same word. That is the word of love, the word of family, the word of community, the word of unity. That word is food.
Yeah. So, well, obviously, Jansen's. Jansen serves food. People know it for its food. I definitely agree with that word family, though, because my family always sat down for dinner, homemade meal, had our talks. Everybody told about their day. That family, definitely the association there.
Do you got a favorite thing at Jansen's?
I do. So we run a special every Wednesday. Lenny made this up on his own. He made the house sauce for it. It's our ribeye Philly cheesesteak, and it is fantastic. I love that sandwich.
Fire, huh?
Oh, it's so good.
Is it all day Wednesday? All day Wednesday?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I might need to check that out. That does sound good.
It's really
Do
good.
you have another favorite establishment in the Kosh?
I do. So I only recently found this. It's called La Baja. It's over on 9th. Being in LA for 4 years, I got spoiled with Mexican food. It's authentic Mexican. You can't beat it. Angel's Tacos, shout out. La Baja is probably the closest, best authentic Mexican you're going to get in Wisconsin. It is fire.
It's legit.
Yeah.
I like that joint.
Yeah. It's really good.
Yes. I judge my Mexican restaurants by the least amount of English I hear being spoken out of the back, the more I trust that it is really authentic.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's fair bias. Cocktail or beer?
Depends on my mood. So I love both. The association with that is memories. Wisconsin is pretty well known for its drinking, and people make a lot of memories when they're out with their buddies, when they're out at the bars. Some of my favorite memories from my early 20s is all drinking. Being a college student, you go out on the town.
being a Titan.
Yeah. Yep.
I love that. And let me ask this. What is the drinking culture like in LA? Like, what's the comparison from there to here?
Well, here's a short story for you. I went out in North Hollywood with a couple of friends. It was me and one other Wisconsin person that had moved to LA with me, and then two buddies of mine that I had met in LA that were from New York, from Syracuse. We went to a bar. I cannot remember the name of it. And I had introduced my New York friends to some shots that were pretty classic here, stuff that you probably hear of, but nothing special, right? Not only were my New York friends entirely flabbergasted by these shots, they were falling all over them. They loved the shots, but the bartender, when I would ask for them, would always give me a confused look. What is that? And then after, I think it was the third time, the bartender's like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Well, I'm no one special. I'm just from Wisconsin." And that just kind of clicked for her. She's like, "Oh, okay." So if that tells you anything, the drinking culture there is vastly different.
Oh yeah, you just got the pass.
Yeah,
I have found that when you travel and then they look at you, and you might be on, I don't know, your third or fourth, or and then you go, "Oh, I'm from Wisconsin," and then it's just like the clouds part, and they just basically literally go, "Ah."
Yep.
And then all is forgiven.
It all makes sense.
It all makes sense. I don't know if that's good or bad.
I don't either, but no one complains about it. No one makes a fuss.
Nope, they don't. They tend to like us.
Yep.
Shop local.
What's the place? Oh, now I can't think of the name. It's the cookie shop that's over on Main Street.
Oh, wait, cookie shop on Main Street?
Yeah, well, they do more than cookies. They've got like gift shop and like do lunches and stuff. Why can't I not think of the name?
Caramel Crisp.
Yeah, that's it. Oh man, I love that place. Oh, those cookies. I can't go there. I will eat myself to death.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on, but literally Caramel Crisp. You know what? If you're out there listening and you know the owner of Caramel Crisp, I would love to have them on. Literally, I think this is the third or fourth episode in a row where someone has brought up Caramel Crisp, and they talk about it with such love and care.
It's so good. It's so good.
And everybody brings up a different thing. You're the first person to bring up cookies.
Yeah. Oh, well, to me, their cookies are fantastic. I love their cookies.
All right.
I immediately go for them.
I'm with that. Concert.
Band called Starset. So I like all genres of music, but there's one band in particular that I've wanted to see forever because they're kind of a strange band. They do rock and roll, metal, kind of that genre, but they're a little weird. They're a little more showman. They're a little bit more of showmans. They do a lot of strange stuff on stage, and I've just wanted to see them. If you've ever seen In This Moment, they do a lot of stage work. They're very much a show versus a performance. Starset's kind of the same, and I've wanted to kind of see what they do because their whole theme is like sci-fi, fantasy, and aliens and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely Starset. You say concert, that's the first concert that I want to go to.
What's the coolest concert you've been to?
Good question. Oh, In This Moment is pretty cool. They do a lot of cool stuff. I've seen them a few times. One of my favorite bands is called Nothing More, and they opened for In This Moment, and they were awesome. They put on a fantastic show. So seeing them back to back was quite a treat.
Streaming.
Twitch. Huge into video games. I love video games. My friends and I actually have a video game YouTube channel. We record ourselves playing video games and just being dumb. Streaming video games, streaming music, definitely Twitch with the video games.
Are you a new schooler or an old schooler?
For video games?
Yeah.
All of it. N64, Sega, all of that. I play those. I love those. My dream is to build a new school and old school video game cabinet and have everything connected and build a library. Man, that is the dream.
Oh, I'm with you. There was a time I almost had all the systems.
Yeah.
And it was close.
Yeah, I wish I could find them.
No, it's just hard now.
Yeah.
It's hard to find ones that fully work.
Yeah, they're all vintage and collector now, so
I've always wanted to get into Twitch. Like, I want to understand it better.
Yeah.
Where people just literally watch people play video games and conversate over it.
Yeah. It's usually a conversation and an interaction with, whoever. It's honestly almost more of a social platform than it is kind of entertainment, because you get to talk to whoever this host is and they'll respond to you. But then you're also talking to whoever else is in chat. And typically it's on whatever video game is being played, but it can be about anything, really.
Here's a great word: entrepreneurship.
I mentioned this earlier, lack of sleep. Man, entrepreneurship is fun and it's exciting, but you do not get to sleep. I think the most sleep that I've gotten in a night since starting the business, since taking over Jansen's, is probably 6 hours. And that's a good night. Most of the time it's 4, got to be up early, got to do things at the restaurant. Then I start my day with my regular job. Then I go back to the restaurant and I'm there until 9, 10 o'clock at night. And it's gotten a little bit better because I've gotten used to things and things have kind of fallen into place. But still, most nights, no more than 6 hours.
Last word: diversity.
Experience. Diversity of experience, because everyone is an individual. Something you learn doing acting or theater or studying anything like that is, everyone sees the world differently. It doesn't matter if you come from the same household. Your experiences and the way you interpret them and the way you use them in your life is completely different from the next person.
Okay. You have completed word association. Next segment is called the Kosh Hidden Gems. This is your opportunity, Aaron, to share a hidden gem with the Kosh listeners. What people usually like to do, it could be something that you think no one really knows about.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's something everybody knows about, but they don't know certain details and aspects about it that make it a cool gem. You are not restricted to just things here in the Kosh. You can share a gem about anywhere.
All right. Okay. Anywhere. All right. Well, I've got 3 then. So first 2 are in the Kosh. They're in Oshkosh. La Baja. If you have not been there, it's brand new. It's maybe a year old, maybe a little bit older. Definitely got to go there. Best Mexican food you're going to find pretty much in Wisconsin. I'm gonna put money on. The other thing is, my girlfriend found this out. There's a glow-in-the-dark mini golf place. I have not been there yet. I am super excited for that. I cannot wait to experience it. So if no one has heard about that, maybe I'm just the last one to hear about it, but definitely want to point that one out too. The last one, if you're ever in North Hollywood, there is a bar restaurant called El Tejano. It's on Magnolia. They have the best Taco Tuesday ever. Dollar tacos. They're not very big, they're maybe 3-inch diameter. But man, I love those things. I once ate 16 tacos.
What? Aaron, what I am learning is me and you should probably be really good friends. Because if you are a Kosh listener, you already know I'm obsessed with tacos. Because once again, and I stand by this statement, you can't even say the word tacos without smiling.
Mm-hmm.
Tacos are happiness.
Yes, they are.
And so I would join you for those 16 tacos at $1 a pop. That sounds fantastic.
We got to go visit our boy Anthony.
Let's give a shout out. Tony. Big shout out to Tone. How you doing out there? Hopefully he's holding in there. Have you talked to him lately?
Yeah, he's doing great. He's looking for a new place. Last time we talked, he was just about to get a promotion at his job to a junior assistant editor. I think that was the title. So he's doing good. He's living life, man. He's living his best life.
All right. I missed that cat.
Yeah, me too, man. He's great. He's going to actually be back in October.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Hopefully this episode will be out by then. Maybe we'll actually get to hear it. All right. That's fantastic. And I just want to say that this establishment, La Baja, that you keep mentioning, I just want to throw it out here for the Kosh listeners. If you're wondering where that joint is, it's the old Ohio Street Station.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I know when I first heard it, I was like, where is this?
Yeah.
And then somebody broke it down to me. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of hidden. You don't really notice it until someone points it out.
Right. Well, at this point, that particular building has been a number of things in a short amount of time. And so I don't know if you continue to pay attention after a while.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Something new. Oh, yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. Right. But a friend told me about it, and then we went and ate there, and I was like, what is this amazingness?
Yeah.
This is taco happiness right here.
Yeah. They've got some great tacos. I had one of each of their tacos because, how can you pick, right?
Well, you shouldn't have to.
Yep.
Just eat them all.
Yep.
Eat all the tacos.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Well, at this time, it is time for our brittle break.
Hey, Timber, this is Orson.
This is Yao.
Hashtag the Brittle Daddies. Timber, every week you have these amazing guests that come on your show, and we want to give them something for being part of your experience.
Let's give them the cashew brittle. It's the smoothest brittle that you'll ever taste.
Oh, the cashew. Yeah, give this to someone who's got a nice, delightful, and smooth story.
And if your listeners want to find out more about Share's Ghana-style brittle, they should go to www.sharesgsb.com.
That sounds about right. All right, we're out.
Deuces.
All right. We want to send a huge shout out to Yao and Orson over there, our brittle daddies from Share's. And yes, we literally got some brittle. We're actually going to ask our guests at this time to take the packet and let's try some. Let us know what's going on and how you like this.
Let's go for this.
Yeah.
I am a huge fan of cashews, so this ought to be pretty good.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to be surprised about this right here. This stuff is fire.
Let's see if I can actually get this open. All right, there we go.
I promise you, no childproofing on this.
Bruh.
All right, first bite. You should not have given this to me. I'm going to be addicted to this from now on.
This is fire, isn't it?
Oh, my God.
It's the texture. Mm-hmm. It's got the right texture. And you know what? It doesn't, for brittle, it doesn't stick to your teeth.
No, it doesn't. It's almost closer to like not a cracker, but it's got a little bit more of like a cracker texture than just like caramel.
Right.
Essentially. Man, this is some good stuff.
Right?
I'm gonna eat this whole bag.
Well, it's your bag to eat, and these are blessings given to us from the brittle daddies at Share.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Okay. Well, we are going to get ready to jump into the next segment, and the next segment is my favorite segment, and it's called Story Time. It's an opportunity for our guests to share a story with the Kosh listeners. And I'm excited about this week's story because when I brought it up to Aaron was like, oh, yeah, I got stories. Just the way he said it just was like, oh, he's got stories.
Bruh.
I got some good ones.
Yes. Let's go.
Okay, so LA is a wild place. You got all kinds of stuff happening all the time. So I've got plenty of stuff to pull on from my 4 years there, but I've got one particular favorite one because it's hilarious. It wasn't at the time, but it's hilarious now looking back on it. So one of the things that I first started doing when I got out there was I started doing background acting. There's a whole company that basically hires a ton of individuals, and then production studios will go to this company, say we need 300 background actors for this day, this time, this long, and this is the parameters that we're looking for. We need them to be college student looking or something like that. So I got signed up with them, started doing background acting so I could get on professional sets and kind of get used to that life and start seeing what's going on there. And I got hired for a show that a lot of people are probably pretty familiar with. It's an HBO show called Ballers. Okay. And the main star is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, right? Mm. And I did background acting for one episode for season 4. And the scene, let me set the scene for you. The scene is supposed to be UCLA campus. and it's supposed to be outside in this quad, and it's supposed to be during the school day. It's a college, and there's tons of college students walking around. So for this production set, this set, they hired, I think, probably 200 or so background actors. And we were not at UCLA, weirdly. We were at, no, excuse me. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. We were at UCLA, but it was supposed to be USC. So both of those are very close vicinity. So we were at UCLA. In the show, it's supposed to be USC. So we're in this quad. It's the middle of the day. Sun is bright. They got background actors all set. They've either got some at tables sitting, on the grass sitting, or they've got us walking around making the scene come to life. I had a particular route where I made this triangle. I would go from one side of the set to the other side of the set. Then I would make the point of the triangle, come back to side 2, then go back to side 1. And I just did that until they called cut for the scene. And the scene was pretty long. The scene was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson sitting at a table with the other main character for the season. They were talking about him going to college, which college he wanted to play football for. And then Dwayne, his character, gets a phone call, picks it up, talks to the person, gets up, and then starts walking away from the table towards some location. As I got to side 2, they were on the third take of this. Some guy wasn't supposed to be there, shirtless, super tall, has this giant water jug, probably 2 gallons. He raises this water jug above his head and just sprints across set. And he's not supposed to be there. This is the first time this has ever happened. He sprints across set and he crosses paths with The Rock. Okay. And then he makes it to the other side and he keeps going and we see security chasing him. And I had started to get to know the PAs at this point. So I'm talking to them just like, hey, what's going on? Why'd that happen? Just small talk. They call cut for the scene after that happens. And the director says, hey, I really like how that looked on camera. Can we find an extra to repeat that? Because we want that to happen again. And so they put that over the radio, and all the PAs are looking, and one PA comes up to me, the one that I've been, making friends with, and he's like, hey, this is what happened. Director liked it. Do you want to do it? Yeah, sure. I would love to do it. So now my route is go from side 1 to side 2 and stay there until they give me the signal to sprint across set. So they start the scene again. It's take number 4 or 5, whatever it is. And I stop, wait like 30 seconds. They give me the signal, and I sprint across set right in front of The Rock, 10 feet or whatever in front of him. And we do this a few more times, 4 or 5 times. And then this is where the story gets good. Then they say, okay, time to get the close-up shot. My face just drops. Oh my God, I did not realize that this was going to happen. If you don't know what a close-up shot is, it's exactly what it sounds like. They get the camera right in the actor's face, 2-3 feet away. For continuity's sake, I have to run in front of The Rock still, and in between him and the camera. I was terrified that I was either going to run into the $1 million actor or the tens of thousands of dollars camera, because I had about 2 feet of space sprinting to get between them. They did 3 takes. I didn't hit him or the camera, thank God. But man, I was shaking that whole time. It was like a half hour or whatever. They put me about 10 feet away from where they were picking up the shot for the close-up. And every time I basically had to aim myself right in between the two at a dead sprint. I had to sprint, kind of like I was in the Olympics. Man, that was terrifying. And then the best part about it, I went and watched the episode. They never used it.
Bruh.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
All of that and all that time,
Yeah.
and they never even used it.
Yeah, all that stress. Man, The Rock's a big dude. I would have bounced right off of him, but you don't want to run into The Rock, man.
No,
that
man.
would be terrible.
No. He is a big dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. I'm 6'2". He's taller than I am, and at least 150 pounds more.
Woo. That was good. I felt that. Like,
Yeah.
I was nervous for you as you're telling this story.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my favorite stories from there. And like I said, at the time, it was terrifying. I hated it. But looking back on it, it's pretty funny.
Well, you know what? I've always been curious when you watch things and you see like all these people walking in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always wondering, where do they get all these people from the background? Do they just randomly go out, like, grab people or what? But there's actually a whole thing to being a background actor.
Yeah, you can get hired at this company. They'll take just about anybody because the thing about acting is everyone can be an actor because every type is a type. So whether you're short or tall or big or small or blonde or, brunette, whatever it is, you're going to be needed somewhere at some time, right? So you can get signed up with them. It's not hard. It's basically like getting hired for a regular job. They also have background actor agencies or managers. So you can get hired or signed on with them, and then they'll book you jobs through this company. The company themselves, they just hire you and you're part of their roster, but you have to like look for the jobs that they post and then apply for them. Whereas with the managers, if you get signed with them, they'll just apply you to all of the stuff that you fall under. And it's actually really easy work, but the call times are kind of nuts. You can get called as early as like 4 a.m. And then the nice part about being a background actor on set is part of the deal usually is that they have to feed you. So if you get called at like 4 or 5 a.m., they have to feed you breakfast, then they have to feed you lunch. And if you're there late, they have to feed you dinner. So not only do you get paid for the day, but you get all 3 of your meals covered. It's actually kind of nice.
Is the food decent?
Oh, food is so good.
Oh, that's not the answer I was expecting. That's
So
awesome.
good. Yeah, they do. They have catered food, so they'll pull in like professional caterers.
Oh, well, I guess they got to feed the regular actors decent food.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
are there people that make this a profession that just do
Yes.
background acting?
There are people that live as background actors professionally. So there's union and non-union. And union is good if you are just planning on being a background actor for the rest of your life. Non-union as a background actor kind of sucks a little bit because your pay's not that great, but you're also not pigeonholed into doing one thing. Union is kind of a double-edged sword. Your pay gets better, but if you basically have to like pick a path and then that's it. So if you want to be main camera actor, you want to be, star, whatever you want to call it, then you want to become union, but you don't want to become union until after you've established yourself as a main camera actor. If you don't care about that and you just want to be a background actor and get paid actually pretty decently, you make like $300 in a day just for sitting there. You definitely do that. You get your union vouchers, sign up to be union, and then you're golden. Do it 4 or 5 times a week, make $1,500. You're good.
That doesn't sound like the worst gig in the world.
It's really not, especially depending on the set that you're on. There was another show that I did. I cannot remember the name of it, but it was about a basketball team, and the episode was the last episode for their season, and all I had to do was sit in the stands. That was it. Did that for 12 hours. Got paid for it.
Sitting in the stands.
Sitting in the stands, watching the game. That's it.
That actually sounds, and they fed you.
And they fed me.
That sounds like a pretty good gig. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It can get boring. Sitting and watching, quote unquote, a game for 12 hours can get very boring because there's not any action. They're filming.
Right.
But if you don't mind, talking to your neighbor and meeting new people all the time, it's actually a really good gig.
Okay. That was a cool story for story time. I like that one. That was really good. I learned some things.
Yeah.
I learned that I missed my opportunity to be a background actor because that sounds, feed me.
Yeah. Oh man.
And I'll sit there. I don't mind. I can look very background.
Yeah, it's not hard.
No. Okay. Well, Kosh listeners, you know what time it is. Every single time. Love it every single time. That sound, as you know, means that it is time for the topic of the week. Topic of the week is chosen by our guest 99.9% of the time, and this week is no different. So, Aaron, what is our topic of the week?
So I'm going to get a little bit more serious for this. I want to talk about safety, more specifically home safety. Having taken over the building for Jansen's, the restaurant, and the apartment above, I've done a lot of renovating on the apartment, and I found out that the wiring in the apartment is not good. I have a friend that's an electrician, and he came in to replace switches and outlets, and we found that 4 of the outlets were charred and burned because the wiring that was used for the apartment is really, really old, way back 50s, 60s. It's 15 amp wiring and it's all on one circuit. So everything that's on that circuit was pulling too much amperage through the wire and was literally burning the outlets and some of the wiring. And then there's an old school fuse box, not a breaker panel. Someone got tired of popping the 15 amp fuses in the fuse box and replaced them with 30 amp fuses. So all of the amperage that they were pulling through wasn't going to blow the fuse anymore. And so that safety net was gone. And it's a miracle that the place literally did not burn down. So my friend not only saved my business and my building, but he probably saved my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep. Okay. Tell us more. Because, I mean, it's something like I don't think we all understand electrical that well.
So there's different amperages, right, for different wires. And most new houses have breaker panels in them. But if you didn't know, older buildings have fuse boxes. And a fuse will pop if the amperage is too high.
Are you talking about the things that you screw in and out?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Okay. That's
So those will pop, and then you have to replace them. Whereas a breaker panel, it just switches off and you turn it back on. So he came in, started looking through everything, and found all of this stuff out. He found out that the circuit for the kitchen is all one circuit. So the oven, the stove, the refrigerator, the 2 outlets in the kitchen, the outlet in the bathroom, the 2 outlets that are opposite the counter in the kitchen, as well as the outlet that's on the same wall but the opposite side as those 2 outlets, are all on one circuit.
That sounds very bad.
It's very bad. When the place was built or remodeled, because there's some more information that I'll get to that says that the wiring is from probably the 50s or the 60s, but the building is from the 1890s. Standard now is that pretty much everything in your kitchen is on its own circuit. All of your outlets, your refrigerator, all of them are on their own circuit because there's a lot of power draw in the kitchen, right? Mm-hmm. So that's standard now. Standard wiring is 20 amps. Usually they'll maybe go a little bit higher, like 30, but at least 20. So my kitchen is 15 amp wire, all one circuit. So everything is drawing power through that one circuit and burning through the outlets. And then some of the other circuits too, there's only about 5 circuits in the entire apartment. They had a couple of burned outlets or wires too. Best guess, they did some sort of remodeling at one point in the 50s or the 60s, because we looked at the power panel in the basement of the building, and the power wire, the wire coming from the panel going up to the apartment is tin-plated copper, but then the wire going into the fuse box is aluminum. And that's really not good. And I found out that they used aluminum wiring in like the 60s era-ish. So there's a point where they spliced together the tin-plated copper and the aluminum wiring, which can work for a time, but then you get something called galvanic action, where the 2 metals, since they're different, will basically burn themselves out because there's a chemical reaction there. And there will be a disconnect, and then you just lose power to the entire place. So, yeah, there's a lot going on there that's got to get fixed. And I only found out because my friend was replacing outlets.
And then because he was replacing those outlets, he ended up just doing a full evaluation.
Yeah, so we went down to the basement. He looked at the power panel, took all of the stuff off, was looking at wires. He went up into the attic just the other day to see what he could do. Thankfully, a lot of the wiring goes up into the attic and then comes back down into the apartment. So replacing the wiring is not going to be that difficult. He can just literally drop new wire in. However, if that was not the case, you'd have to rip the walls out, put new wires in. Yeah, it would be bad. And that would really, really suck because I had just had the walls done. I had them textured and painted.
Oh,
Yep.
that would have been horrible.
Yep.
Okay. And this was all stuff you didn't expect.
The building's old, so I had kind of guessed that I was going to run into something. I just didn't realize that I was going to run into a literal fire hazard. So as soon as he told me that, I was like, that figures. But I just wasn't hoping it was going to be that bad.
How long is it going to take to fix?
Probably about 2 weeks. He's going to come back one more time, double check some stuff, and then he's going to come back with breaker panel, replace that fuse panel for me. He's going to get about 250 feet of wire, replace most, if not all, of the wiring in the apartment. It'll probably take him some time because he has to go up into the attic and drop everything. But I figure probably end of September will be the latest, but maybe a little bit sooner.
Okay. Does that mean all the wiring in the restaurant was updated already, or is that part of this too?
So the wiring in the restaurant is fine, which, that begs the question, why did they not look at the wiring in the apartment?
Right.
But yeah, the wiring in the restaurant is fine. It has been for a while because, they made everything for large power draws in the kitchen and everything else.
Right. So this all is just the apartment.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. Maybe it's one of those that they didn't get to do it because somebody was renting and they didn't. I don't know.
It could have been.
All right. Well, I'm glad you found it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So what do you want to tell our Kosh listeners?
Check your homes for any kind of potential bad wiring, specifically if you have a home that's built before the 80s. Because a lot of the standards that we have now were not around in the 70s or earlier. So if you have a home that is built in the 70s or earlier than that, make sure that your wiring is good. If you have everything on one circuit, even if it's high amperage wire, you pull too much amperage through those wires on one circuit and you're going to start burning stuff. If you have low amperage wiring like I do, and it's all on one circuit, you're definitely going to have a fire at some point. So you need to make sure that you are checking your wiring. It's pretty simple. You can have an electrician come in. They can look at your panel. They can look at your outlets, make sure that your wiring is where it's supposed to be. Shouldn't be terribly expensive because they're not doing a whole lot. They're not like replacing things or anything. But just be prepared if you have an old house, you might need to do some updating for your safety.
That just makes me nervous thinking about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I got an old house.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'll show you some pictures of the outlets he found me.
yeah.
Yeah. My phone's off right now, but when I turn it back on, I'll show you some of those pictures.
Okay. I definitely want to see some of these pictures. Okay. Well, Kosh listeners, I think this is, for a topic of the week, safety, electrical safety. I think this was fire. Well, not literally.
Bruh.
All right. Aaron, is there anything else you would like to share with the Kosh listeners at this time about your topic?
No, I think I covered it. Just be vigilant.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Call in those electricians.
Yeah.
You want to give a plug to your guy?
Yes, Rob Geezy, a friend of mine from high school. He lives in Fond du Lac. He comes up. He actually reconnected with me because of Jansen's. We haven't talked pretty much since high school, and then he came in because he heard that I took over Jansen's, and we started talking again. Found out he was an electrician. I was like, hey, I got some work for you, and here we are.
Oh, all right. Shout out to Rob Geezy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Kosh listeners. Oh, first let me say, Aaron, thank you. At this time, Kosh listeners, we're going to start wrapping up this episode. Oh, you know what that means. That means it's time for me to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for giving us your minds and ears. Thank you for caring about another amazing person in our community making a difference, making this place, the Kosh, and the surrounding area a better place to live, work, and play. We are a work in progress. We are trying to become the #1 podcast in all of Wisconsin. We're already the People's Podcast. You already know that. So, how do you help us with this thing? Well, let us know. Holler at us. Let us know if we're doing a good job. Let us know if you want some new segments. Let us know if you want some new questions. Leave us a voicemail and leave us a message. We will play it on air. And you can do all of this by you can either email us at askthekosh@gmail.com. Once again, that is askthekosh@gmail.com. Or you can also leave a voicemail to us, and that is 920-385-5073. Once again, 920-385-5073. If you're out there listening, you're thinking, I would make a cool guest for the Kosh. I agree with you. You should reach out. If you know someone you think would be a cool guest for the Kosh, I agree with you. Reach out, let us know, and let's get you on here and have your own episode. All right. So now the homework for you, Kosh listeners, is simple. It's this. While you are sitting here listening and enjoying this episode of the Kosh, take a moment and give us a rating. Preferably 5 stars. We don't need 4. Just going to give us that 5-star rating. And if you've got a few more seconds, just leave us a review. These things increase our analytics, and the better our analytics are, the more eyes and ears get to learn about this community treasure known as the Kosh. So now, on to the real business at hand, and let me just go ahead and get ready for that. That is shout out time. Aaron, who are you shouting out?
Definitely my staff over at Jansen's. Literally couldn't do it without them. I tell them that all the time. They are the reason the place is alive. I said this earlier. I'm the owner, but I don't run it. My job is to support them, make sure that they are effective and have everything they need for their job. They are the reason why Jansen's is what it is.
All right. That it?
Well, then we got Rob. I already gave a shout out to him. Good dude. You know, he definitely, literally and figuratively saved my life. My parents, my friends, that's super supportive. My girlfriend has been major pillar for me in the recent months. Very supportive. She has come and helped me basically free of charge. I have to spend a lot of time at Jansen's and working on things, so she'll just come spend time with me. She'll help me do stuff. I can't do it without other people. No one can. Everybody that's been supportive they make it happen.
All right. Okay, I want to send a couple of shout outs. I'm going to send a shout out to some of my favorite staff members of yours. So, you shout out to my man Scotty. Always keeping it 100 with us, always taking care of us, always making us feel like family when we walk in the space. We appreciate you, Scotty. Also to Charlie. Charlie is family. We love Charlie because, you got to have it's all about the characteristics of the people that you engage. And they just have these amazing personalities. Yep. They're not it's not overkill with it. Yeah. They're real people.
Yep.
But they're the real people that you really do enjoy. You would want to sit down and have a cocktail or a beer with.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Charlie's a little bit of a spitfire. She's fun to talk to.
Oh, spitfire. Yeah, that's a full force. No. No, we got mad love for Charlie.
Yeah, she's awesome.
All right. So let me see here. My shout out list. Want to send a shout out to Lizette Cruz. Appreciate you. Appreciate what you're about to do over there at the Bolt Company, taking on the DEI role. You are going to kill the game. Shout out to my friend Greta Lax for taking me. I got to have this experience this week. I got invited to be part of the Women's Fund event, and the Women's Fund event, literally. This thing was amazing. I didn't know what to expect. I've seen it in other years, but I didn't know. There was 1,100 plus of the most influential women in the region. and they're there and being supportive of each other and talking about resources and funding different initiatives that support girls, young women, young professionals, and women as a whole. And just being in the space with them and the amazing energy that was in that space, and being one of probably about, I'm just going to take a wild guess, about 35 men that were there. It was just fantastic to just see this gathering, to see this sisterhood, to witness such positive community at work. So, Greta, thank you for inviting me along. And Women's Fun, thank you for the amazing event. And the food was fire. Appreciated that. Send a shout out to Angie Lee, my friend Carolyn. And last but never least, I send a shout out to my wife for allowing us to continue to make this podcast in the house. I love you, baby. I appreciate you. All right. So, there's only one thing left to do, Aaron, and that is this. You got some choices. There's an A, B, and a C.
Hit me.
Option A, share with the Kosh listeners some parting words of wisdom. Option B, tell the Kosh listeners, what would yourself today tell your 13-year-old self? And option C, like good multiple choice, you get to do both if you choose to. All of the above. So,
all right. Well, let's do a little bit of both then. So, some words of wisdom as I walk out the door here. Don't hold yourself back. Something that I learned through college, going to LA, is the biggest thing that holds people back is fear. And it's just fear of what's going to happen. You never know. So, a lot of people are like, "Oh, what if I fail? What if I don't make it? What if this happens or that happens?" Well, what if you succeed? What if you get the thing that you want? What if you make it happen? What if you find out that maybe this wasn't for you, but you found something else that you're passionate about? That all happened to me. Biggest thing going into college, when I got into theater, I was terrified of stage acting. I love film acting because I started with that. Stage acting, terrified. You know, you get up in front of hundreds of people. What happens if you forget the words? What happens if you miss your mark? What happens if you fumble your words? And then I did it for the first time because my professors kept pushing me, and it's awesome. I love stage work. It takes some getting used to, and you got to practice, but it's awesome. And then found the motivation to go to LA. Never thought I would do that. I did some really cool stuff out there. Didn't achieve necessarily what I wanted to achieve, but I found more passions. I found out that I love teaching people, specifically with axe throwing, but I love teaching people. I love communicating and meeting new people and finding out people's stories. If you hold yourself back because you're afraid of what's going to happen, you also stop any good things that might come that you don't even know about. So parting words of wisdom, go for it. Don't be afraid. Yes, it is scary, but some great things are bound to happen to you. And then I would pretty much tell my 13-year-old self the same thing is, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's really scary out there, but if you're afraid of it all, then nothing good is ever going to happen either. Chase the things that you want.
Facts. Big facts. All right, Aaron, what'd you think?
I love this podcast, man. It's quickly become one of my favorite things. And when I get up early in the morning, I pretty much listen to this while I'm doing my busy work. It's awesome. I love this.
I appreciate you. The Kosh.